Hello and welcome to Vault Boys WV. This is me, your card-carrying cryptozoologist, Dave Chaffins. And joining me is my favorite, son of a Mothman, Austin O'Connor. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to
Yeah,
have another day with you, my friend. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about the
that is what it's
friendship and
all about.
love, you know?
It is. It's all about it. I like how you added in it's me, your card carrying crypto. I like that.
Yeah. Well, those kids today, they're all like, it me. So I gotta be
I just
like,
thought about
it me.
Mario. It's me, card carrying cryptozoologist.
It's a me, the
That
card
was
carrying cryptozoologist.
that was kind of trailed off there, but at the beginning that was impressively accurate.
Let me tell you something. I do voices. I could be like a really terrible voice actor. I can do a lot of voices, but I keep the voices in my head. It's the
Yeah,
main thing that I have to
right.
manage.
We don't we all?
Yeah, we just we keep those puppies up there, and then we pull one down. There's like an ether that
Yeah,
we just as we
yeah,
need, as
right.
we need to summon it forth. We call
hmm
it down.
Yeah, I like that. I'm with it. So what's new in your world? What's going on? It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah,
What's going on?
I missed you last week. I missed you. We had internet problems, and when by I mean we had internet problems, I was calling Austin, getting ready for the podcast, and Austin's face was just frozen, and then I was getting like every other word, and then I just like called him on the phone. So instead of like holding a phone to a microphone, we just decided to not
Yeah,
do one due to the
yeah.
internet.
It was a frustrating night.
It was. But we did a little. There was like a little Hitman stream, a little something. Here's the thing: on
Yeah,
Wednesdays in general, there's gonna be something, unless of course it's next Wednesday, because there's not gonna be anything, because that was the scheduled break. Um, Last week was the unscheduled break. Next week is the scheduled break. So this is like
we had some PTO, so we used it last week.
we did use it last week. I
Yeah,
mean, you get long enough doing this, and I mean, you just accrue. Your pension accrues.
yeah.
Return.
Annual leave. Yeah,
Annual leave. Right. It's part of
but
it.
I definitely I think it was a very lonely week without you.
It was. It
So
was. It was. I've been all right. I've been all right. I can't really think of anything. It's like sometimes life is very interesting, and sometimes it's
hmm
it's it's like it was sleeting today in late April here in a place that
yeah.
doesn't get that. And I woke up this morning and I heard like a scratching, and it was just like the ice pelting the windows of my house, which is very strange. That's probably the strangest thing that's happened to me this week. Other than that,
Yeah, that was a strange thing to wake up to.
hmm.
But yeah, I had I had not really strange, but I had an interesting weekend.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Um yeah, I didn't really stop. I had to work on Saturday and did some photos and things, but on Sunday I went out to the backwoods of West Virginia in Boone County to go. A friend of mine is having an article published in Whetstone magazine about morels and ramps and like other kind of West Virginia cuisine that a lot of people actually forage for, and kind of the cultural history of that in the area.
Hmm.
So we went out to her family's property in Boone County, and that was a pretty wild experience because we had to go up like near mine property, but where they have like an agreement where they own part of the land.
Hmm.
They had to like let us through like a gate that was guarded 24/7 to get up into the land. It was pretty cool. Went up past some like old abandoned mine property and like huge structures that are just not used anymore, and like went up in these mountains, and like there's like ponds and little lakes on top of the mountain that nobody else can get to.
Hmm.
So it was kind of neat, and we hunted for morels. And
So what are morels? For
so
people that don't, I know what
so
one is.
morels are just basically mushrooms. It's like a form of a mushroom
Mm-hmm.
that grow certain times of the year, and they are delicious if you fry them up. Um, they they're very, and I'm not a mushroom fan, but when you fry them, they don't taste like mushrooms. They kind of, it almost tastes like fish,
Mm-hmm.
like fried fish. It was very delicious.
That's interesting.
And yeah, so we picked morels for a couple hours, and then we went down to my friend's grandmother's house, and she fried them up for us, and it was amazing. But we were trying to take these photos, and I was like, man, like a really nice, let's get a really nice piece of, like, maybe like a plate or a bowl. It's really gonna pop,
Mm-hmm.
and make it local. And our pal Alex happens to work for a pretty big company here that produces very fine,
A lot of
uh,
glass.
a lot of glass. Yeah. And so I texted him and I was like, hey, do you think we could use something from you all? And he was like, yeah, but can I come with you? So I was like, it's a fair trade. So he tagged along, and we hunted morels, and it was a good time. Like I said, I was skeptical because I am not a mushroom fan, but I think it changed my life. It
Do
definitely
you think
changed
you're
my
gonna
life.
be like ordering some like shiitake and some different stuff? Like, do you think your horizons have been broadened?
Well, I think more so just on the topic of just morels and just those. I don't think I'm gonna be going with other mushrooms, but it was so fun because it was like a scavenger hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see one and it's kind of poking up through leaves,
Mm-hmm.
because they hide very well. They're very well hidden. And like we only found, like, between the three of us, I think we found like 8, and then her uncle found, I think, like 12. But it's just you got to get it at the right time when it rains. They apparently grow all they're gonna grow within 24 hours.
Really?
So that's, yeah, which is pretty interesting to me. That's a very fast growth rate, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like. But it's cool, and it's like a West Virginia staple. I felt like a fraud having not done that before.
Yeah.
Between that and ramps, or I hadn't had them. It's like pepperoni rolls, morels, and ramps. Those are that's the trifecta.
Well, now there's like a problem with ramps, and if you a ramp is essentially like a wild onion variant. There's a problem where people are picking ramps, but they're not leaving any.
Yeah.
So like the reproduction rate is slowing, and so now
Mm.
it's like some like conservation groups are like, okay, well, eventually, if the craze continues and people still keep on picking these ramps, there's not going to be any ramps to pick.
Yeah.
So
That
it's
was
interesting.
that was a big thing with the morels, was when you pick them, you're not supposed to pull the stem, the root out. You're supposed to pinch it and leave that down, I guess, to help regrow a lot of them, which, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little different, but I guess there is sort of an art to it and a science behind it all. And it was so interesting because her uncle was like, "Yeah, get we want to make sure we're on a like a south sloped hill, um, because that's where they're going to grow this time of the year,
Mm-hmm.
because of the way, like, it's just all this like science into it." And he was right. That was where they were, was on a south facing hill. And he said later in the season you can move over to a north facing hill, and
Hmm.
it's the way the leaves fall and the grass grows, and it was really interesting though. And it's stuff that I really had never heard of as a West Virginia. I mean, I've lived here, my whole life, and knew what they were, but I didn't know how much went into hunting them. So it was really cool. It was neat.
I've only read about the foraging, mostly in books, and a lot. Originally, it was ginseng was a pretty big thing that people would forage here,
Yeah.
and they call it sangin. Go sangin.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the with morels, there's a lot of, if you look really in depth with it, there's a lot of, I mean, a lot of people argue, gentrification of even that, because people have hunted it for so long, and that's a part of a lot of cultures. And then now if you try to get them in a restaurant, they're so expensive. Like, these restaurants just like charge ridiculous prices. Grocery stores charge ridiculous prices for them, which is understandable because they're very hard to find. But now it's become, in some places, like, this commodity that people can just charge all this money for in these fancy restaurants and big
mm,
cities and stuff like that. So it's really interesting how it's an inherently Appalachian type of thing, but it's making its way to big cities in that way.
I'm curious how you keep those. Would you like freeze them? Obviously, like dehydrating them
Yeah.
would kind of take out a lot of that. But
Yeah, I don't know.
just
The
like,
one thing is they're really weird looking. If you've never seen, for anyone listening who doesn't know what they look like, just Google like morel mushroom.
hmm
They're really weird looking.
yeah, they
Like
look like a brain. They look
yeah,
like a weird. They look like a monster from a video game, like
yeah,
a crazy horror or like Cthulhu or something like that.
yeah. Very. It doesn't look like it would be appetizing at all, but I promise you they are.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with the
Yeah.
strange food. I like a weird food. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if like there's anything like particularly weird of like West Virginia delicacy that I've had. Um, and it, and I mean, it's funny. It's like West Virginia delicacy. What are we like going around eating squids? Like, what
Yeah.
am I saying here? But maybe possum. People have fried up
You've had
possum
possum?
at I had a piece of it at so there there's on the 4th of July you go to Claytor Lake, which is in Virginia.
Mhm.
And generally the Richie Riches, they have these houses and they have the lake house and then you go out there. But the
Yeah.
people the normal folk get like a double wide and they put it out in these like, trailer parks
Oh yeah, we used to
and
go there all the time.
yeah, it's perfectly fine and fun. You ride around in a golf cart and have a good time, and maybe you get a little possum, get a little fried possum, get a little bit of, maybe a little bit of moonshine, maybe a bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean,
All the good stuff.
Fourth of July in that area, it's always funny because that's when you got to watch out for fireworks because they'll set
Mhm.
them off in this. There's this bowl, and they'll set them off in the bottom of the bowl, but it's like 16-year-olds setting them off, and so those things will come up and like fly past your head
Mhm.
almost. I think they probably started a fire one year. Other than that, that's some good like down country fun. It's
Yeah.
interesting what pieces of that we've experienced. Just from
Yeah.
you
There's
know.
a lot of Appalachia that's just very unique,
Yeah, it
and
is. It is. It
it's
is.
I really want to see like Fallout incorporate stuff with like morels and ramps. As far as I know, there's not a lot, I guess, in it. No, really mention
Nothing in regards to that.
like a radioactive morel that
And that's still more. That's even more niche than pepperoni roll, and pepperoni roll is pretty niche.
Yeah.
For like addressing a food. Yeah,
Hmm.
I wish that there was more like of that level of foraging. Like that would be cool just as like a skill. I don't know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about, and I do a Fallout show every 2 weeks, so
Yeah.
and take that for what it may. Listen here, listen here. I've come to you today to present you a brand new segment, the brandest of brandest new segments. I have realized that we have not covered a lot of news in our time. Have we covered much news? Any kind of like real news? I've been like Beach Street reporters with this.
I feel like it's been a while since we've brought any like maybe with the old show we had some news
We had some
occasionally, but
news,
it's been a
yes.
good while.
So here's what I want to do. I want to do like a big news dump um, of stories that I found interesting, that I think are
Hmm.
discussion worthy, that I think are maybe not kind of creepy, but kind of weird. But
Yeah.
they're not 100%. Like, I'm not gonna come at you with some big revelation like, "Oh, Bigfoot is real." I mean,
Yeah.
if I came at you with that, then put me on the History Channel. But
Speaking of, did you see there's a documentary on Hulu that just came out about Bigfoot?
yeah, and then there's they're doing a Discovery Plus show about Bigfoot. I
Yeah.
think Jessica Chobot is doing that, and she used to do a few like like paranormal and
Yeah.
cryptid-esque podcasts before. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's advertised to me on there. It's like Sasquatch, and I'm like,
Yeah.
cool, man,
Big time.
cool, man. Got him. They got him. They found him. But I was reading some segments and some of the Google News stories, and I ran across this particular one that gave me the idea of like, you know what? I should gather up some of these like really strange news stories and just like present them on the podcast. So I want to just like kick it off. I want to start first. The first thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about. Have you heard about the croissant in the tree?
No.
Animal welfare officers received a report of an unusual animal lurking in a tree in the Polish city of Krakow. They were not sure what to expect. Quote, people aren't opening their windows because they're afraid of it. They're afraid of it, or it will go into their house. That's one of the women said. But a visit to the area showed that the creature in question was not a bird in a tree. It wasn't a reptile, but it was a croissant. So,
Like an actual croissant.
it took off on Facebook. And I'm gonna put the link. I'm actually gonna do my little trick here, and we're gonna We're gonna transition into a nice little view in our Twitch chat, so you can see a picture of it. So nice. This particular croissant in the tree looks weird. It looks like there's maybe like a mold, like kind of like a the tree has grown some like asbestos or some lining or something. I don't know if I would mistake it for a cryptid, you know? Like, I don't know if I could take this and be like, "Oh, is this, a creature, an animal?"
Yeah, that's just a good old croissant, huh?
It is. Is it? And I guess I could think it's like, okay, maybe that could be like a caterpillar, like a big old caterpillar in a tree. Like, if you're in some like strange place and you see something like that, you could be like, I guess caterpillars could get that big, You kind of think of it like that.
That's just, huh? I when you said croissant in a tree, I didn't expect it to be a literal croissant in a tree, and I'm just amazed right now.
It was a big deal. Apparently, people on Facebook were commenting back and forth about what this could be. But the essentially animal control showed up and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's a croissant."
That's like, imagine like you show up as an animal control employee and you have to tell them like, no, it's just basically a piece of bread in your tree. Like, that's, yeah.
It makes me wonder what things would we like. What's a common thing that we would just like confuse with like a creature? Like if we just saw something like lying around, what would we confuse with like a creature? Any like pieces of like very long rug that's kind of balled up.
Yeah.
You could confuse for a creature. Like you're out in the street and somebody has a small like, lambskin rug or something like that, and they've rolled it up and put it on the curb, which at that point, I don't know why people are throwing away their lambskin rugs in my universe, but that's what they're doing. And you pass that by, you're like, okay, that could be a cat.
Well, it's like, yeah. Well, like the brain just plays tricks on us anyway, though. Like, okay, do you remember back in the day, Keenan and Kel had like a movie come out, and there was like something about like there was like a headless knight or something like that. I can't remember the complete.
Oh man,
we were little. We were probably like 6, 7 years old.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Here, we're gonna use the magic. We're gonna use the magic and look up Keenan and Kel movies here.
There was like I swear it was like a headless knight or something like that, and the thing about it,
Keenan and Kel, two heads are better than none.
Yeah. So I watched that, right? And I was not at my house.
Mm-hmm.
I was at my cousin's house, and what year was it? 2000. So I was maybe 7, depending on what month it came out. Yeah. And I was, for some reason, that movie terrified me. Mm-hmm. Like the headless knight or whatever was in it, right?
Yeah.
And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was in my cousin's room. They had given me one of my cousin's rooms. So I'm very unfamiliar. I don't know what all is in her room. I'm 6 years old. I'm not paying attention during the day to what all is in her room. And in the corner, there was something in the darkness that in my 6-year-old brain, I swore looked like that headless knight in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Identical. I was like, it's gonna kill me. 6 years old in my brain. I was convinced 100%, and I ran out of that room as fast as I could, and I jumped in the bed with my grandma, and I told her that I thought that I was about to die, and we went back in there and turned the light on, and it was like I think like a coat rack type thing,
Mm.
and it's just like I think when you're scared, your brain can play tricks on you. Maybe not to the extent of my 6-year-old brain thinking that it was a headless knight in Roanoke, Virginia about to kill me. But I don't know. It's just funny when you see things out of place that can happen.
I definitely remember. I'm pulling up like just like pictures. I definitely remember like these heads on a table. Like I remember, oh, that I've seen that movie. I think I saw that movie on like a trip, like a family vacation
Yeah.
of some sort, and maybe that was on in the hotel. I don't know. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, it is. But I just remember that. And then you think about like with Mothman,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, well, it's a sandhill crane. Like they were trying to make that the reasoning.
Right.
Like you were seeing a sandhill crane. You weren't seeing
Right.
Mothman.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a croissant. So that's kind of interesting.
I mean, when you have people go out there and verify the results, you know.
Yeah.
What if like Mothman was like a food item? If Mothman were a food item, what do you think? What do you think it would be? Would it be like a bottle of gin, or like a? What is my brain doing? I'm like bottles of gin and lambskin rugs.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
living a very posh life this week.
I think we're both just out there today. I brought up the Keenan and Kel movie from 2000.
Well, I mean, I had forgotten about a lot of this. I mean, there's a lot of good. Like, here's a gif of this dude probably gonna rip his head off and throw it at him. Yeah, I remember that. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, see that movie it like yeah, like it landed on a on like the hood of the
Hood of
car.
the car. Yeah.
That's terrifying for a 6-year-old. I thought that shit was real. I was like, "Oh my god." Like that's traumatizing. That's worse than like stories that Dixie would tell us when we were kids to scare us.
Yeah. Like some stuff to me was like weirdly. I'm trying to think. Like Zelda was kind of scary when I played the Ocarina of Time because there were
Yeah.
zombies in it and they would scream
Yeah.
at you, and when they screamed at you, you froze. And then I think my parents tried to say, they were like, "Oh, it's fine. It's just like, just think of it like, you know, it's your grandparents or something." And so
Yeah.
then it's like, then that seed got planted, and then I was like, I'm just gonna squeeze past you here, Granddad. Don't scream at me, Granddad. And then that's like extra creepy. And it's like, why
That
did
was
they
your
put
reasoning.
that seed in there of like that's probably not the best idea for a child to look at and think of.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. Um Speaking of like ghosts and stuff, remind me toward the end of the episode to explain some stuff related to that. We'll circle back to that.
All right, circle back to it. We have Ash Deasy in the chat says, if there isn't a Mothman branded whiskey or something already, that should be our $1 million idea. And
I think that's a great idea.
Mothman branding on anything in West Virginia sells. And the great thing about Mothman is it's like for use. Anything can be Mothman branded. There isn't like some like corporate conglomerate that's all things like it is in like routinely in that folklore. So I agree. Mothman sells everything. Moving on into our next story. Let's see here. Are you familiar with worm tornadoes? So, spring rains often bring sources of earthworms to the surface, where they writhe on top of soil and sidewalks. But recently, heavy rainfall in a town near New York was followed by something much more unusual, a wormnado. A resident of Hoboken, New Jersey, was out in the morning walk in a park near the Hudson River on March 25th when she spotted hundreds of worms spread across the walkway. The woman, who was not asked to be identified, told Live Science that after her initial surprise, she noticed something even more bizarre. A number of worms had formed a cyclone-like shape, creating a spiral where the edge of the grass met the concrete. The woman took photographs and sent them to a member of the Hoboken City Council, who shared the images of the tornado of worms on Facebook. Quote, "Clearly worms come out after it rains, but this is something I've never seen." Look at this hellish picture.
Yeah. I would just absolutely not go outside ever again.
What do you do? What do you do when that happens? What do you do with...
It's like the cicada stuff coming up. I'm like, that's what I'm picturing the cicada summer is going to look like. Just everywhere. Ugh.
Okay,
Not
Sharknado, whatever. You know, like that's a joke. WORMNADO is like a what?
You're
if
just getting
there's
slapped
like a
in
hive
the face
mind?
by worms.
Just like it's just an unpleasant. It's like, is it harmful?
Everywhere.
Probably not. Is it scary?
It's just inconvenient. You're gonna show up to work with slime all over you.
Yeah,
You got degraded by getting slapped in the face with a bunch of worms.
I guess.
But like, how big does the tornado get? That's my question. It's like, yeah, you got a little tornado. Is it like when you're walking into Walmart and there's like in the little square, there's like little dust tornadoes coming up? Have you ever noticed that? It's like every Walmart I go to. I may be alone in this. Every Walmart I go to, when I'm about to walk in, there's a little like leaves tornado kind of off to the side of the front door. That might have been a too deep of a cut for you. I don't know.
That was probably a little deep cut. I'm just like caught up in this vortex, you know, in this like
Yeah. No pun intended.
Vortex of worms. So
I don't know.
That's kind of like, imagine. So here's the question. Here's the question that I came up with: Is an unusual grouping of animals considered a cryptid? You know, like is it rare enough? Like a WORMNADO.
I don't know, because when I think cryptid, I think like one creature that is like foreign, alien, something.
Right. But if you see,
but you might be onto something. Yeah, I mean, as a group together, they create something very much larger than themselves. I guess I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
I mean, I'm trying to think of other animals that it would be particular to that. Like the grouping would be strange. Obviously, there's like unstrange one, like ants. Like, you know, get a million ants. Got it. Like, but what if it was like I don't know, like a bunch of like tiny lizards like running around in a circle.
That would be weird.
Like
I wouldn't
like
that.
Lizard NATO.
I don't like reptiles. I don't like reptiles anyway. Think about like snakes, but like they're like curled up on each other to where they're like 20 feet tall.
Yeah, like a ball, like a giant ball of snakes, like a rubber band ball, but it's snakes. Like, is that
just rolling down the road?
That could be the cryptid, you know? Because when else are you gonna see that? Flock of birds, whatever.
Whole bunch of croissants in a tree.
That's what I call Panera Bread, my friend.
I like it. I like it.
That's probably one of my worst ones.
Next, but I'm becoming more accepting of them, of everything, you know?
I'm a mess.
All right, what's next?
Next in a docket. Florida woman thinks she saw a baby dinosaur running through her backyard. So I'm gonna play this
you
video.
Didn't even have to go past Florida woman, because anything Florida man or Florida woman, I don't know.
I'll read a little excerpt here. A Florida woman believes she saw a baby dinosaur scampering through her backyard, and she caught the prehistoric sighting on video. Christina Ryan shared her home security footage on Saturday after cameras captured a strange creature running through her Palm Coast property last week in the middle of the night. Quote, any animal we can come up with that would be walking at 3:40 in the morning wouldn't walk this way, Ryan told the outlet. Maybe I've watched Jurassic Park too many times, but I see a raptor or a small dinosaur. The footage briefly captures some sort of creature that appears to have an elongated body and a reptilian-like thick tail dashing through the front yard. And everyone Ryan has shown the video to has come up with the same conclusion. It must be a baby dino. So I'm going to, this is a very, very, very short video.
Well, I am delayed. My feed is delayed video-wise.
That's
so
fine.
It'll be
I'm going to let it loop
before
a few times. I'm going to let it loop a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't like that.
Okay, but like think about it. So she's in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
There are alligators everywhere.
Everywhere. Mm-hmm.
That just looks like an alligator. Right?
I mean,
it.
The point, and if you look at the back of the show, I think I need a better video of this, and so I'm gonna go to YouTube.
That looked like an alligator to me.
I think it's a dog in an alligator suit, or like a like a dinosaur suit, like a little costume. And that's something you would see at 3:40 in the morning. Like, somebody's getting...
So that's why that's our background today.
That's the whole shtick. I'm going to get... Because I want us to get, like, forensic on this. I want us to get, like, down and dirty.
Okay.
I'm going to get a better solution here. Yeah. Here we go. Now we're kicking it. Now we're kicking it up.
Look at the tail. It looks like a gator.
It does.
I know gators, and that's a gator.
But its walk. The thing about it is,
fast.
Its back legs are kind of up. It's like if we do like a play-by-play here. Well, that wasn't a very good play-by-play. Let me see if I can do frame by frame. So like.
That's a gator.
You think?
Or a possum.
What's this like?
Or it kind of looks like a possum. Like.
It has very long back legs. That's why people are saying it's a raptor. And that's why I say it's a dog.
It does kind of look like a dog with it. Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, it's like, Chris Pratt at the end of this, and he's like, all right, come here. Come here, little raptor.
Oh, God.
Come here, Blue. I got
Gator
your back.
Gator claw, but tiny. Okay. Look at it. It's like, what are we doing? So either she's trying to dupe people, and it's just her dog, or it's a gator. Have you seen that TikTok where it's like, I'm fast as fuck, boy?
I have not seen that TikTok.
Being fast, just zooming through the backyard. Or it's like a possum that just got real coked out, and I don't know. The brightness on the front is what's intriguing me. Like, are those its eyes reflecting?
I'm kind of moving it at like a slow speed here to see.
I like Ash Deasy said it's a Cubone, clearly.
It's a Cubone, yeah. Okay, like this, you see how long this leg is? Like, you see
that is true. It's got some like reach to it. Like it's like a spring in its step there. But what?
Like, you can only see the back legs, but it's like, what's with the front legs? Why is there this white bit there,
That's what I'm saying. Is it like its eyes reflecting, or is there something on its head?
I think it's something on its head.
Like a collar.
I mean, it could be a collar. It could be like a white collar, and then that's like, it's moving so fast in the video.
When was this spotted? How recent is this?
This is like this past weekend, or weekend before last. It's like in the past 2 weeks.
This is, yeah. So, I don't know, man. Could it be like a giant bird? You know how birds have like the long legs?
I mean, it could be. I have a degree in this, so the thing is, like, okay, up until like this, I could see being the gator movement, right?
Yeah.
But look at that, like, long leg, and that might be video
Yeah.
distortion. Like, that's not a gator, you
That's
know?
what I'm saying. Like, what about like a peacock? And I know that sounds
A
funny,
peacock, yeah, okay.
but like I could see it being a peacock,
Uh huh.
and like maybe like that's a reflection of like maybe the top of its feathers, and like it's got them in,
Hmm.
because like some of those birds can run pretty fast. I don't know. There are peacocks in Florida.
I don't think it's I don't think it moves like a raptor. Like, this lady is saying that it's like a baby dinosaur, and I mean, technically, let
Yeah.
me tell you something about Florida. There's all kinds of baby dinosaurs in Florida,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the American South as well.
I think it's a peacock. I'm saying peacock.
I,
Or like maybe not necessarily peacock, but a bird of some sort. The legs, like some birds have long legs.
I mean, it's
I don't
kind
know.
of lizardy. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on in Florida that we can't explain.
that's true. Florida is an enigma to me. It's an enigma.
Yeah.
It's a blind spot in my life.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
if you wanted, here's my question: if you wanted to stage a cryptid, how would you do it?
I would want something in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I think anything that's flying is typically those are the ones that seem you want something that's going to glow and something that's going to fly. And it doesn't have to be like Mothman type flying, but you want something that's going to move in a way that people don't expect. Like when people see things they can't explain in the sky, I feel like those are the ones that like make the headlines. You want something in the sky. Maybe not super high, but you want something that's going to fly and be mysterious and be like reflective in some way.
Yeah, I think the trick is getting something that's flashy enough to get people's attention, but to remove it quick enough so that it has that mysterious element to it. Because the whole problem
Yeah.
is, like, how are you gonna land something out of the sky? It's like you need to have like a quick exit for this thing.
Yeah, you don't, because if it hangs around too long, it can be debunked. And I think that's the trick. Like you said, you just want it to be you need something quick, people notice it, and then it's just gone. And then they're gonna be like us and try to debunk it or make some sort of deduction of it has to be this. I don't know. But that right there, that is I don't know. That's it's a weird even in slow motion it makes it even stranger.
I mean, if I were to fake a cryptid, I would probably go to the woods. I would set up
Yeah.
some lights,
Yeah.
with some like essentially making like shadow puppets, but
Yeah.
disguise them really well. Like, disguise everything.
Well, I think yeah, and you want to film it, and you want to film it with like a phone, so it's not super high res,
Yeah.
to where it's like shitty enough to be like you can't tell, but high quality enough. You want shitty enough that it doesn't look CGI.
Right.
High quality enough that people are like, oh, I can see something there, and you want it to feel real, like you just saw it, so you pulled your phone out,
And I feel like that people like
and then
people dressing up in a suit is fun. It's like
yeah,
there's a novelty to that. Like, when we would go, this one time at band camp. When we were at band camp, we had a collective gorilla suit, and we would go through and like rattle windows while wearing the gorilla suit, and
yeah.
like jump out of like trash cans while wearing the like. There's a novelty to that. But the
Well,
moment
yeah,
the thing is, humans can't help but, unless you're Andy Serkis, humans can't help but walk like humans and like act like
yeah.
humans. So when you see people in like Bigfoot suits faking Bigfoot, you're like, clearly
Yeah.
that's just, Jimbo's cousin over there putting on
Well,
the big furry suit.
yeah. It makes you wonder though, like other cryptids, how many cryptid sightings were just people messing around
Hmm.
and they were just really successful. Like I was watching a video once about Mothman, and this guy was talking about how he thought um that Mothman could have been that type of situation of someone playing a prank and it got a little too far. And he talked about this thing called spring-heeled Jack in I think in London or somewhere in the UK back in like the 1800s or early 1900s, and how he was kind of like this like humanoid that could jump really high and run really fast and just like disappear, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just like a menace. Like it wouldn't like hurt anybody, but it would just scare people around. I think around London, like a steampunk kind of like
Here, I'm pulling up
cryptid.
some pictures here.
Yeah, spring-heeled Jack. And that was, yeah, there you go, spring-heeled Jack. And see the first one.
This is me. Like, this is just me. Like, at this point, that's pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of me constantly.
but but like, see, I mean, it almost like some of these the renderings, like the drawings, kind of look like what you would think Mothman, like the type of um like that, you know what I mean? Like kind of just this creepy, dark figure that was like flying through the sky and jumping all over. I mean, so that's, but you wonder, like, was it someone kind of like a steampunk Tony Stark with a little bit of like a, just kind of like he just like wanted to watch the world burn and like just screw with people.
Right.
Like, you know, he had this like tech or, you know, the ability to make himself jump higher in this weird suit and just was like, I'm just going to mess with people.
Yeah, I think you're coming up with a good idea actually for a comic book, because like we've seen Batman fight crime and justice and do his super gimmick, but like there's like a million versions of Batman and the multiverse or whatever. But a Batman that's just like, I want to dress up for the fun of it because I'm super rich and I have
just
so
want to fuck
much
with people.
time. And it's just him screwing with people.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't think there were any reports of Spring-Heeled Jack like actually harming people. I could be wrong, but like, what if the Mothman was just a similar situation of someone who was able to kind of, it's maybe not necessarily fly, but it was like smoke and mirrors, you know, really high tech stuff to freak people out, maybe to keep people from moving to the area or to keep people from being able to move out of the area.
Right.
You know?
Right. There's like a bunch of movies like that. What was it? Was it The Village? Was that the one where it was like they were dressing up as the monsters or something? I'd forgotten. It's been
to
years
keep people from going out into the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like at Night Shyamalan. Well, it's like that, and you think about like, or maybe it was to make Point Pleasant, you know, put them on the map for something, for like a tourism type of thing. Come see the Mothman, which obviously is still that. I mean, that happened. I don't know, because there are benefits to having a cryptid in your area. Like it does kind of give you this weird, you know, tourist appeal in that, because there are people who love to see that type of stuff, like you and I. Like we like that stuff. That's something that we would travel to see.
Right.
I don't know.
The problem I see is it's all about like choosing your location, like the right real estate for cryptid. Because like out in the woods, it's like, but the back hills of West Virginia, like literally anything could happen. A leprechaun could pop out of the hole and give you a PlayStation 5. Like, hear stories about whatever. But in the city, the problem is if you try to stage something there, then you have all these cameras around you, you know? Then it's like, people have phones, people have like ATM cameras, like I'm thinking like Mr. Robot here, like you got everybody's got their Ring doorbells now. You got all this stuff. Like, you're gonna be caught in some way unless you have like Back to Batman, unless you have that Batman camera that Morgan Freeman gives him in The Dark Knight. Unless you have that like kind of idea of where everything is, it's not gonna be good. And so you need to pick these. Like, you wouldn't want to do it in Charleston. You'd want to do it, like, in Bell, West Virginia. Like, you want to be, like, a little bit out, but not too far out. So
go to Welch. Go, like, down to Welch, and you're just, I wonder how many, like, actual security cameras there are in downtown Welch right now that would be able to pick it up at not, like, a potato quality.
Right. Or like, go to Madison and Boone or something like that. Like go
out in the hills.
But be close enough so that you're around stuff. Because that would be the problem. Like a guy can't wear spring-heeled boots, and jump around London anymore. Like that's not something.
Give him that and maybe like your grapple hook that you were talking about a few weeks ago, and you're set, honestly.
I mean, once you got a grapple hook, the world just opens up to you. It's a whole
Well,
new.
there was I saw a TikTok once. Somebody was trying to recreate something they saw, and it was like one of the TV shows. I don't know if it was like NCIS, or it was a TV show where they had put on, or it might have been MacGyver or whatever, like the modern MacGyver thing
Mm,
they did.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he put on these sunglasses that blocked his face from any like cameras, so they couldn't do like the facial recognition, because it
Mm,
would oh, it's starting to snow here. That's fun. It would it like emitted some sort of like reflective light, and it
mm.
like blocked his whole face just by wearing these glasses to the cameras. Something like that. Like that would be something you could use if you wanted to be
Yeah,
extra creepy.
if you're going for like a max headroom, like you know that old uh like that old public radio, not public radio, but like public television thing where this guy like interrupted the broadcast wearing the Max Headroom get up.
Yeah,
Are you familiar with that? You've seen
I
it
think
before,
so.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll pull it up here. Um, like if you were going for more of that style, I think that would be good. Like this is kind of what it looked like. I don't want to find the video because the video is a little suggestive. Eventually, people start whipping butts.
Yeah. No, I remember this though. Yeah,
Yeah,
like that's a
yeah,
very creepy because when things like that, when things disrupt what's normal and what is expected in in like an everyday situation, like the slightest little thing like that,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
like I think that's extra creepy. Like when you just like disrupt the smallest things like that, but like you don't know what's going on. You don't know if it's a joke or if it's you've seen so much in movies. Like I think our brains automatically are like something's not right, and
Right.
like if it's mysterious enough that like maybe it's not harming you, but like you're not sure if it's going to. I think that's even scarier than like something that you know it could harm you.
Mm-hmm.
Like know something's really bad, because then your brain is like it's kind of like fight or flight immediately. But like if it's a situation where you're like, is this a joke? Is someone playing around? Like you don't know what the possibility of harm is. I think that's an even scarier place to be,
Mm-hmm.
for me at least. So things like that, like if I'm gonna do it, if I'm gonna make a cryptid and make it like a fake cryptid and make it scary, I think you want it to stay in that in between where you don't know if it's friendly or not.
Right. You don't want to
Yeah.
freak people out. You know, you want
Yeah.
to like there has to be the
Oh,
awe
I do.
factor.
I want to freak people out.
I
I
mean,
want the
you don't
awe,
want
but
to
I also,
immediately. You don't want to go for that immediate. You want them to look back on that and be like, you know
yeah,
what, that was weird.
you want to ease into it. I
Yeah.
see, and I want to hear from the people watching right now, people in the chat. I want to hear like what they would do, because I think everyone's different. I think
Oh yeah.
different things scare different people, and like that's the stuff that would scare me personally. But like I would love to hear, because I see we've got a few people in the chat still. I would love to hear what type of cryptid they would create, because this is an interesting situation. We always talk about cryptids that are documented, but I think it's an interesting conversation, like what you would create.
I mean, like you would need to attach like you if you really wanted to do it and you really wanted to go out there and create like it would essentially would be like for me like a public art situation, you know, like it would be some sort of
Yeah.
like that would have to be the case for it. So like let's say we get like Birdman, okay, and it's
Yeah.
just like a human guy and we build him these big wings and he just like
Yeah.
goes and frolics through the downtown. Like there would have to be like some like clips or like a Twitter for Birdman or
Hmm.
some sort of like movement behind Birdman.
Yeah.
In order for it to like continue and for people to find the novelty in it, you know?
Yeah. That's there's just, I think that like if there are cryptids out there that have been man-made and just created like that, I would assume there's a lot of work that goes into it.
I
I
wonder if
see.
that's like the
Let's.
secret underbelly of cryptids. Like it's just like
Yeah.
a very select group of people that collectively make up this like new folklore, you know?
I see Dog Fox 101 said a girl with long hair weeping around town. Yeah, that would terrify me. the like what was that movie, The Ring, that
Yeah.
had the like her face was blocked by her hair. Like that was one of the scariest movies I ever watched when I was young. And that stuck with me. So yeah, anything with like long hair, especially if it's like a kid. Kids are just inherently creepy, I think. That would be make it like I think a lot of people would think like, oh, like a huge cryptid's gonna be scary. But I think if you make it like a small, just like disturbing, I don't know, like a kid, that would be even scarier to me.
Children are frightening when they're out of place. When they're like very clearly out of place. And they're not
Yeah.
frightened about that. Like, you see a kid lost at the mall, you're not like, oh my God.
Yeah. But like if a kid showed up at your doorstep at 4 a.m. and wasn't saying anything, was just there when you open the door staring at you. Like that's no. Mm-mm.
But that's not
No.
like what's it's interesting. It's like, okay, so there's like obviously cryptids, there's obviously like ghosts. Like is a kid more of a ghost, you know? Like
Yeah,
at
I
that
don't
point, like what's the line?
yeah, I don't know. Kids just freak me out, man. Like there was like what's that the saying where it was just like a child's laughter is one of the purest things, one of the most beautiful things in the world, unless it's at like 3 a.m. and you're home alone. Like that, like that type of thing. Like it's scary. Or I'm sure you've seen that little short video that someone made a few years ago of the dad tucking his kid in for bed, and the kid was like, "You didn't check under the bed for monsters." So the dad like laughs like and looks under the bed, and the child is laying under the bed and is like, "Dad, there's someone on my bed." Like that type of thing. Like kids, like no, I'm not. Like that freaks me out, and I don't know. So maybe you don't even need to make a cryptid. Just get a little kid
Just
and
get a little
have it
kid to
like
do like creepy shit. Yeah.
show up places at like 4 a.m. with like maybe like hair down in its face, and then you're good.
Yeah,
Like
long game is I have a kid. I don't tell you I have a kid. Like I just like keep that a secret from you. And then
yeah,
like if you ever come over to visit me, I'll just like position him throughout the house and
yeah,
then have him like read a script of some sort and say things
yeah.
and then disappear him away.
Well,
Um
I will be honest. If you can pull that off, I will be very impressed, and I think that that's something you should try to do. But if I kick the kid in the face, that's not my fault. That's on you, I think, at that point. That's like a risk involved.
Listen, it's a fight or flight. Like you're not gonna immediately. You're just gonna slowly back away. Like that's what you're gonna.
No.
I know
Uh-uh.
you. I know you.
No.
You're
You
gonna
don't
do.
know me that well because I would kick that kid square in the face.
Okay, you ever go to a haunted house?
No, I refuse to.
You refuse to.
I genuinely am scared that there's one of two things gonna happen. One, I'm gonna scream and embarrass myself.
Okay.
Or two, I'm going to like elbow someone in the face that's working, trying to like I'm just gonna like and I don't
And
I don't know. And then I'll just end up with like a lawsuit or getting kicked out, and that's bad because I don't know what my body would do, but I don't think I would slowly back away. It's either gonna be embarrassing, like like freaking out, or I'm gonna be the person that they jump and I just immediately like jab by accident. You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know. You gotta have a particular personality. I feel like to immediately like get frightened and then act aggressively, like to bat things
Yeah.
away. Like pushing
There's
stuff
like
away is whatever. Like if something's coming at you, you
yeah.
push it away. But like attacking something that requires
Yeah.
like a level of thinking. That's why you're not gonna punch my 4-year-old that I've hid from you for years. You're probably just gonna
I
run
didn't say
away.
punch, I said kick. Probably be at a good
Okay,
level.
kick. What
Just
are you, Liu
kick.
Kang in Mortal Kombat? Like you're gonna come
I'm
out
just
here
saying
like wah, wah,
if
wah,
it's
wah,
a
wah, you
think
know?
about it. If it's this goes back to our debate about how many like first graders could you take in a fight.
Uh-huh.
If this 4-year-old comes at me, 4 years old, that's like the perfect height for just a quick little like pow, like kick. right to the face.
But they're not going to come at you because it's cryptid. Like the cryptids don't run after you. Like they like are there and then they disappear. Like
Yeah,
I've considered building like a fake bookshelf for a door in my house. Like I've considered
you're
these
gonna get ready
options.
for this, right?
I've considered these options. It's like we're redoing a room particularly this year, and maybe I want to build a little bookshelf, and that's where that'll position is.
Okay. If you can pull that off without me knowing for 4 years,
That's impossible. So here's what I would do. I would get my
you just
kid like
hire a kid.
I would just just get a neighborhood kid to come over. That's a
You
better
put,
idea.
you
Is
put out
getting
like a Craigslist,
yeah,
like a
invite you over for
Craigslist
dinner
ad.
one night, and then get like a neighborhood kid to come over and dress up like I don't know, like a Union soldier or something like
Yeah.
that. Like
Get like
something.
put a Craigslist ad out and like there's like a disclaimer like could get kicked in the face. We will
Could
have
get
to see.
yeah, yes,
We'll find out.
yes. Not liable. This is a
Well,
this is a
like picture
contract
this
clause.
situation. Picture this. I love how we got onto this from a video
From
of
a video
what
of this
was
stupid old
yeah.
gator.
But think about it. Think about like you're laying in bed at night and like you're by yourself and all of a sudden like in your backyard you just hear like a child like a 5-year-old child just laughing by himself and you look out and he's just staring at you by himself from your backyard just staring up at your window and then he's just gone and then you hear the laughter in your house. This is
See,
like a short horror story.
I don't know if that would be particularly scary to me because I was a weird kid, Like
Yeah, I
that was the
was
kind
too,
of
but
stuff that I would
man,
do, and I would just be like, "Oh, that's just like another lost soul." Eventually, they'll grow
another
up to be.
lost soul.
Eventually, they'll grow up to be like me, a man with a cryptozoology degree that he bought from an online
Mhm.
retailer after a small exam. Like,
Well,
like,
listen, do we do we have any other news stories? I feel like we got way off
um,
track.
um. We
If we
got one
don't,
more.
I
We got
have
one more.
if
We got one more.
okay, we'll do that and then
2 dozen monkeys escaped from German zoo for a day. About 2 dozen monkeys broke out of southwestern German zoo and spent the day lolling in the sun near a forest before being recaptured. Authorities said the I can't pronounce this word.
the Barbary Matt. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try that one.
Escaped from the zoo in Lofingen, southwest of Stuttgart, not far from the Swiss border. It was not entirely clear how they got away, but construction work at the zoo might have factored in, police said. So essentially, these monkeys just got out. That's the last story.
And they were roaming the area in a pack. So this makes me think though, down near Jacksonville, Florida, where my family used to live,
Mm-hmm.
they used to tell me the story about, I guess back in the I think it was the mid 1900s, like they were shooting a movie. Or it might have been it might have been like the 70s. I don't know. It was sometime back in the day. They were shooting a movie and I guess they had monkeys for the movie. And when they finished production, I think some of them had escaped and had kind of found their way off set. And I guess the story was that some of them like they had made it over the years and there were just monkeys in Jacksonville, Florida, like out by the river that just live out there now because of this movie. So that makes me think of that. Like they escaped this movie set, and then I guess they were just like, "All right, well, we'll just let them stay here, whatever."
Right.
And now there's just monkeys there.
And that's another good way of making a cryptid is just like taking an animal that doesn't really belong and then like putting it
Yeah.
somewhere that it. Like I'm trying to think. Like imagine if you saw a zebra, just like in the forests of West Virginia. Like you would be like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't
Well,
in
it's
your
like it
mind,
kinda
you wouldn't be
makes
like, that's a zebra. You'd be like, what the hell is
Yeah.
this? What is this stuff?
What is this doing? It makes me think about how people always say like if like there's like alligators in the sewer systems or whatever.
Yeah,
Like if you like went down there and there was a
Kirk
gator,
Connors.
like if you think about it, like that's like a cryptid though. If you think about it,
Yeah,
like if there's a big huge gator underneath your city, like I would consider that a cryptid.
I mean now you're rounding out something good. You're rounding out somewhere real good where we start considering whether or not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a cryptid.
Yeah,
And
I think it's a conversation that's overdue. I think we need to discuss. You know?
I think they gotta be. I think they gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, in it on paper, they are turtles that can that can throw little like mini, what are those called that they have? The little like sword things.
Um,
I don't
nunchucks.
know. They got
Um,
nunchucks. And they got the little
daggers.
swords with the like. Yeah, I mean they're cryptids. They're cryptids.
I wanna. This is when I'm too hard on like I'm too like into this theory, but I need somebody who is like firmly in the not Teenage Mutant
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles are not a cryptid camp, and that needs to be like the big debate of the year. Like I
yeah.
would much
But what
rather
about
watch that than any other debate.
think about this though? Like, would like Spider-Man technically be a cryptid?
But
Could
people,
be.
I don't. It depends on. It would depend on like the timing. Like very at
Yeah.
first, Spider-Man, yeah. At first, like
Yeah. I don't know.
But it would depend on this. It would depend on the suit because like in a lot of it depends on which Spider-Man you're talking about because it could be like wrestling
Yeah.
suit Spider-Man is just like local hero, but if
Right.
you're talking about like full on like Spider-Man suit and he's just starting
Yeah.
out and he wants to hide.
What what about like the Hulk? I feel like he would be a little more like a cryptid.
But like you gotta be like what defines a
don't know,
crypt?
man.
It's like what's the difference between like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they don't want anybody to see them. They don't want to know like anybody to know where they are, what they're doing. The only one that can know is April.
Yeah.
And whatever hockey player that they're friends with now. Like
Yeah.
those are the only people. Rocksteady and Bebop, they're out there robbing banks and just like having a grand old time, putting their rhino horns and snooters into things that they don't want, or I guess things that they do want. I guess the bank.
I guess. I mean, I don't know, man. But like what? I think we need to have a discussion one day of like what like qualifications there have to be. Like how many boxes do you have to check to
Right.
to enter like cryptid territory?
Right. We need to figure out what's the difference between where does the line cross from superhero to cryptid? Because I feel like that some
Yeah.
superheroes, like Swamp Thing,
Yeah.
that is more encrypted territory than like a Spider-Man,
Yeah. Speaking of cryptids in general, did you see where I guess The Witcher 2 or The Witcher season 2, all that production's been going on for
Mhm.
another season?
Mhm.
That's like I can't believe I didn't get into that video game and that show sooner than I did with what we have always discussed and talked about and been interested in.
Yeah.
And
I've been like I was like I was a super hipster Witcher fan where I was like I played the very first game and then I was like I'm
Yeah.
gonna read all the books now and did like before they even had the English translations I was reading fan translations and stuff. I was
Oh
a
my
total
God.
nerd.
It's good though, and like I think Cavill as Geralt, like that's such a it just fits. The whole thing is just really good.
Cavill's
don't
good.
know.
Cavill's good as Geralt. It's
Yeah,
interesting. I'm interested to see where they go with all of this and what's derivative because
I want to see more cryptids. I want to see more creatures and more.
a ton of stuff.
I don't know, but it's cryptids. That's like, I wonder how many times we've said that word in the last 3 years.
How many times you said cryptid? How many times
Yeah.
I've thought about cryptids? People need to
The
really
limit
like
does not exist.
if you're driving the car, listen to this in the car. You need to like pull up the video version of this, and just check out this like background I have, and how I always manage to get like a face like right above or near Austin's portrait that just looks so delightful. Like I think last time I had like Godzilla yelling at somebody, and this week I've got this like dog that's peeking up wearing a
You
little
got a little
raptor
pup.
costume. It's delightful. It's so nice.
I mean, that really does look like the creature running across the backyard, though. Like that would make sense.
I mean, and that would make sense with like the collar and everything. Yeah, it's a whole mess. So you had something that you wanted to bring up. You have been waiting.
Yeah.
You've been
So
waiting.
this went along with spirits and things like that. So I don't know if I told you this. I had a sit down meeting with a medium spirit guide, a spiritual reading, right?
Yeah. Well, you told me. Yeah, you told me this. And I want you to retell this. But I read your tarot cards. A
And you
few
had read my
weekends ago.
tarot cards.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Did I tell you what all he told me though? Or did I just tell you that
Well,
I had
you
met
can
with him?
share. You share with with the rest of
All
us
right. So
here.
you read my tarot cards,
Mhm.
right? And you did a tarot card reading. And then a week later, I met with this medium. I'm not kidding you. He did the tarot card reading, pretty much the same exact stuff that happened. The same,
Really?
pretty much same cards. Oh yeah, it was like the same reading. The things he was telling me that everything meant, pretty much the same thing. And then he told me that I had lived 16 lives,
Uh
and
huh.
that at one point I lived during the Victorian era, right? And that during this time,
You were
he
Springfield Jack.
said, well, yeah, right. He said that someone very close to me, I guess maybe my wife or something,
My
partner,
wife.
my wife, my partner, I guess drowned, and I was with them. And apparently it traumatized me. According to him, he said that his spirit guide told him that it traumatized me so much that it has stuck with me in this life. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up when I say this. Since I was a kid, at least once a week or once every few weeks, I have a dream that I am submerged like 30 feet, 30, 40 feet in water, just all the way submerged in water. Sometimes it's like a freeing feeling and I'm in this water, but other times there's someone in the water with me and I'm trying to get them out of the water. Recurring dream since I can remember my whole life. That freaked me out. But then he started telling me things about spirits around me and all this different stuff. And one of my coworkers has always claimed to me that she can see spirits and feel spirits and energy and things. And the building I work in is like probably 130-ish years old, I think, 140 years old, very old building. And there used to be dormitories in the building at the end of my hallway. And she told me that there is a spirit that walks back and forth across the hallway all day from dorm room. It's like where the dorms were, dorm room to dorm room, just walks back and forth. And that's where my bathroom is that I go to in our building, is right down that hallway. And every time I walk down there, I feel like somebody's watching me. And there's no one down there. All the offices are empty, everything. But there's always I always hear footsteps in the hallway and I hear something walking around. So the last few weeks, I don't know. I'm moving from like cryptids to now like spirits and like the paranormal. I think that's something I want to explore. And it's getting like that dream thing though, man, like the lives and the drowning and all this stuff. And one of the first things he told me on the call, he said, my spirit guide is telling me to tell you, and he started laughing. He said, it's telling me to tell you to take care of your foot. You need to take better care of your foot for some reason. And I started laughing because remember I had that, like I've been having that problem. I had that
Everybody
procedure.
remembers you got to have the silicone
Yeah.
case for your toe.
Yeah. And then he told me that I had a pinched nerve in my lower back or like somewhere in my back, which I do right now. I've been having back problems, like things that I haven't, like, I don't know. And he doesn't know about the podcast. He wouldn't have listened to what I said. I don't know. I'm starting to
I
believe
mean,
this like spirit guide
now
medium stuff.
let's dive into this. I mean, that is
Yeah.
now we've made an assumption that he doesn't listen to this, but what if he did?
What if he
That's
did?
the long game? What
Chris, if you're
that's
listening to this, man, you duped me.
you
100%.
you done duped him? This is
Yeah, but that's a lot of work to go through just to try to make somebody think that. The other stuff he told me though, man, he was spot on. We did a whole hour conversation, and he knew quite a bit about what's going on up here, and that freaked me out.
Was it? Did you do it in person?
I don't know. No, we didn't do it in person. We did like a FaceTime thing. Um, but I'm gonna hopefully meet with him. I was like, well, damn, if he knew this much stuff, and it wasn't like just like general vague information, like he knew stuff about me and stuff that there's no way he could have like stuff that's not online. Like he couldn't have like known these things about me. So I don't know. That was my first time talking to a medium, and I was impressed. So I definitely think that I would like to explore that a little more. But we were talking about ghosts earlier, and I thought I remembered that, especially the woman at the end of it's like our building. People have always said it's haunted. Like everybody's had weird experiences in it, and like I've had weird experiences in it several times when I've been the only person there at night. Sometimes like it's a creepy place, and I don't know, very strange.
That sounds interesting. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
so
I'm
maybe I'm
I'm
gonna.
curious. I'm very curious about
Yeah,
your goings on, your
you're
spiritual
you're
journey that you're
you're a
on.
cryptozoologist, so you're the cryptozoologist.
Hmm.
I'm maybe I'll go to medium school. It's gonna
Maybe
be what
you
I do.
will. Maybe you'll go to
Yeah,
medium school.
yeah.
It's it's in between high and low school.
I
It's
knew there was gonna be a
it's
joke there somewhere, like a dad joke
it's
in there
medium school.
somewhere.
Um,
Yeah,
no, middle school's out. We're just going to medium school.
we're just going to medium school. That's
What
all we're doing.
I mean, I'm sure. Let's go. Now we're gonna do another thing. Um, Paranormal Institute, which is where I received my degree.
Oh, that's a thing. Okay,
Yeah, the
cool.
Paranormal Institute,
The Paranormal Institute. I would pay to go there.
mediumship.
Yeah, let's see.
Paranormal Institute mediumship. Let's see, degree in what do you want to you want to be a medium? Is that the term?
Oh, I think that would be the right term, right? Just be a medium.
A seance, something.
I don't know if I want to do
There's
seance.
there's a lot of we'll just do Paranormal Institute. We'll just see what their offerings are because every time I look up medium, it's going to give me an actual like medium article like from medium.com.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. I don't know.
It's hard to find. Hard to find. I don't even know if the Paranormal
We'll
Institute's
explore
open
it another
anymore.
time.
Another time. Another time,
We'll
perhaps.
explore it another time. But yeah, I think that stuff's real. I would love to hear, like, I don't know, man. I want to like bring on a medium to the show sometime. I think that would be
That'd
cool.
fun. I think that'd
And
be
talk
good.
to them about this and maybe like the things they experience, because I've met people that say they can feel these things and see these things, and I don't know. My thing is this, like there's so much in this world that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think our brains are set to like comprehend things the way that we've been told they work, and
Mm-hmm.
like we analyze things in that way of thinking. Like we try to deduct, like, okay, that is this, we've been taught this, that's how you can explain this. But like think like the universe is like billions and billions of years old and infinite, and there's so much in it. Like who's to say there's not this like dimensional like spirit realm? Like, and it sounds wacky, but like I think that it's like I believe this stuff, and I want to talk to somebody who knows more about it. I think that would be a fun episode. I
Yeah.
would love to do that.
Yeah. I think everybody has their own idea of how things work and
Yeah.
what things are. I think it's all very interesting. Um, just like it's weird how things connect and the coincidence of this or
Yeah.
that. That's all just good stuff. I kind of wanna end the show. And the best way to end the show is to ask my buddy ATO,
Yeah.
what are you excited for?
I am excited for this weekend. I am going to on Friday. I'm going to drive up to Richmond, Virginia, and see some family and check out some breweries since I'm double vaxxed up, and they're
Double
all
vax.
they're all fully vaccinated, and
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go check out some breweries. I want to check out one of the like science museum there. They've got some cool stuff, some nerdy shit that I think I would like, and
Yeah.
maybe do a little hiking around like Belle Isle and go around the
Mm-hmm.
city. That's what I'm excited
You gonna
about.
see
What are you
Guy?
excited?
You gonna see Guy?
Oh, I'm gonna see Guy. Good old Guy Winterbotham. Yeah, can't wait.
He's gonna come out and give you the what for.
Yeah.
Tell you what's
Oh
up.
yeah. Talk about TV head. So
Yeah, talk about TV head. That's true. He
yeah.
might still be out
What are you
there.
excited about?
What am I excited about? I mean, I'm gonna be out of town next week. That's gonna be fun. And I think that's it'll just be nice to be out of town. You know,
Yeah,
be nice
for sure.
to be somewhere that's
To
not my
be.
house.
That's all I want to be. I just want to
I
be.
just want to be. I just want to be. I'm excited for that. I'm excited. You know, it's like not a podcast unless we talk about how excited we are for Marvel. I'm excited.
Oh yeah,
for Marvel.
Captain or Falcon and the Winter Soldier has been phenomenal. Like like I liked WandaVision, but I think this show is currently, and just in my opinion, I think it blows it out of the water. I think it's way better,
I
just
think,
to me, just in
yeah,
my opinion.
yeah. I think WandaVision is a better show. It's a more creative show. But
Hmm.
I think that Falcon and Winter Soldier is like a is like a I mean it's like a modern telling of like the Captain America storyline, which I don't think people haven't seen a
Yeah,
Captain America like storyline since like I guess Civil War was probably the last one.
yeah.
That it's
But
like
it's
kind of
so, yeah,
contentious.
yeah, and it's like it's very much, it's like a social commentary. There's so much deep stuff going on in it, mixed with just action and very interesting storylines, and the characters. I think all the characters are very interesting, and I don't know. I'm excited because I feel like it's kind of one up to WandaVision for me. I'm wondering if the Loki show is going to be. I mean, it's all been great.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. And then
it's fun.
like the Legend of the Ten Rings show. Did you see that trailer?
Yeah, it's a movie there. It's the Legend of Ten Rings. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go. I'm gonna go see Mortal Kombat in the theaters.
I kind of want to see that too. That looks good.
I'm pretty excited. It's the first movie
Yeah.
I have seen in the theaters in a long time. Um,
Yeah.
it's a bit nice big movie theater. Got my seats reserved.
Ooh, big
And it's
time.
like most of the theater is empty, which is nice. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
All right. Well, good. Good, good, good.
Well, I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
As far as I'm gonna pull up, we had a review on iTunes, and I had said to myself that I was going to read the review and sing it in a tune that you would have to guess. And so so if you didn't know, you can follow the show, Vault Boys WV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on we're on the next level. We need a TikTok, but we have our own personal TikToks, and I don't know if I can manage both because I haven't done a TikTok in a long time. But maybe
Yeah.
one day I'll go back and make a Vine for us. We have a number of different
Rest in peace.
ways that you rest in peace, Vine. We have a number of different ways that we can, I guess, communicate with people.
Yeah.
Particularly this podcast, which you can get on all the different podcast services: Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, iTunes, all that stuff. But one way that you can support the show right now is by going to iTunes, leaving us a 5-star review, and if you write a little diddly, I will sing it in a in a tune, in a pop tune. And I'm gonna do one of my favorites today, so I hope that you're ready
Oh
for it.
boy. I am. I don't know if I am or not, but I'm ready.
Okay. I have not practiced, so this is the train wreck in which we're gonna end this. Are you ready?
Yes.
These guys are a true gem from West Virginia. You never really know where the episode is going to go, but you are guaranteed at least one eye roll, chuckle, and face palm at some point. I started this show for Fallout, but I stuck around for their personalities and all the fun. These two have a phenomenal chemistry together, and I love how they support not only each other, but others in their community. That's it. I went through as long as I could. How do you feel about that? What song was that?
I don't know. I thought I knew, but I don't know, man. What was that?
You thought you knew?
I thought I was picking it up a couple of times, and then you just kept taking it even more places. I don't.
That's because it's one of the greatest songs from all time. From
Well, who's the artist?
the artist is Seal.
Oh, okay, then yeah.
It's Kiss
So,
from a Rose.
Kiss from a Rose. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was what I initially thought, but then it almost kind of sounded like a Fall Out Boy song. So I just wasn't sure where you were going
Well,
with that
he goes all over the place, and if you watch that music video, he's got his he's First of all, he's on the roof in Gotham, and he's got the bat signal behind him. He's got the bat signal behind him. Here,
That's such a good
I'm
song.
gonna pull this up at this point. We're not gonna play the actual song. He's on the back of this building. The bat signal's there. His shirt is just like flying in the wind. I mean, if there's any image I want to end this on, it's Seal singing this song. Yeah, look at him. He is like,
oh my god,
just having the time of his life out there. It's so moody. He's so moody.
I love it. That's such a bop, though. I'm glad you decided to do it in that song, even though I didn't recognize it. That's because fine. I think your voice was too good. So it was kind of like one of those situations where like
This is where, it's like I'm trying to build my skill set, and this is just
for sure.
Just a part of my skill set.
For sure. Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Austin, why don't you lead us out for today?
Well, I it's hard to follow that. So I'm going to try my best here, but from holler to highway, we've got you covered. 6 ways to Sunday.